Well, we are live. Welcome, family. This is the Friends with Benefits podcast. I'm Justin. This is Pansy. And we are on, what is this, episode 37 now?
That's what you said.
Yeah. That's what the flyer said, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean time flipping flies by, man. It doesn't feel like it's been a year at this point. It really doesn't.
Almost, yeah. Like for the podcast, not
For the
quite.
podcast, for everything. It just doesn't feel like it's been a year.
I know it flew by. It
Like
really
it's crazy.
is.
This, I mean, this is why I think you and I have had this conversation before too. This is why you got to move quick. You got to move quick,
Yeah.
especially in real estate.
Sorry,
But not,
everyone. If you guys are wondering why I'm dark and like only my head is because I'm stuck in a car.
yeah, Pansy's actually tell the folks where you're going. Tell people where you're actually at right now.
I am at Moretti's in Schaumburg um, for the SubTo Thanksgiving, Friends Thanksgiving.
Nice.
So I am not hanging out the entire time. I just wanted to get us started, and then I am gonna go hang out with some peeps in person.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I hope you have fun there. It sounds like it's going to be a pretty good time. Make some good contacts. Do your thing. Pansy's really good at the networking side of this business. She's always been good at that.
You are too.
Well, you actually you do a lot more to get out there and go meet people in person. So there's a lot more, I would say there's a lot more social cred when you're actually in person as opposed to meeting people on Zooms and YouTubes and stuff like that. It really is all about meeting people in person. If you actually want to actually build a relationship with someone, it's really important. So you doing that is really good, and people should take a lesson there because I think it's really easy to just kind of want to stay virtual and kind of do everything virtual, but you just can't. There's just no way you're going to be able to do everything virtual. Not if
Well,
you want meaningful relationships with people.
yeah. Well, my thing is though, like finding the real estate community and whatever, I wanted to meet people. I want to know who they are. Do I really want to do business with them? Are these the kind of people that I want to hang out with and whatnot? Like I
Right,
was looking for new people to hang out with that were doing different things than what I was already doing, right?
right, right.
So, I think meeting people in person is just, you get a better feel of who they are.
Yeah, you really do. You really do. It's easy to kind of I don't want to say mask who you are virtually, but you don't get a real sense for someone until you're out socially with them and are interacting with them in a social environment like that. Sometimes, people are people. People are gonna be people, but it's just more it's just more real, if that makes sense. So that's really good. We're doing this episode tonight partly because, Pansy and I are actually partnered with folks who are doing co-living, and that's one of the things we're focused on is really going hard on the co-living side of the fence and learning what it means to actually find co-living opportunities, the right markets to be looking in. Because quite frankly, there's a lot of markets that have already been, those opportunities are kind of not there anymore, if that makes sense. And we'll talk a little bit about that with our guests, but these are some of the things we learn about. And co-living, one of the other interesting things about co-living that we're learning about is the mental health portion of the business that people don't really talk about. Um, because I mean, depending on where your properties are, you're gonna get with that. In fact, what did Angel say? She said that Padsplit actually has a mental health
They have
line.
telehealth. Yeah.
Telehealth, that's
Part of
right.
their membership is
That's right.
telehealth. Yes.
Yeah, that's
Which I
right.
think is really awesome. I think they have a few other things. I'm not sure. I forget. But
Yeah.
and then some of these niche places make sure. I think Jamil has like the same type of setup, like different um assistants, kind
Yeah.
of things that go with it, which I
Yeah.
think is awesome because Um, especially if you're doing like a niche co-living type of thing and dealing with any type of person who's struggled with any addictions or homelessness or,
Hmm.
you know, anything in life. Yes, having a home is definitely a big help,
Hmm.
but oftentimes it's not enough.
It's
It's
not, it's right. Yeah, yeah. They had a really moving story about a guy who was in one of their units that he wasn't responsive, essentially. Like the people in the house weren't able to get him out of the room. He wasn't opening his door, he wasn't responding to people knocking. They eventually had to call the police. The fire department shows up, they open the door, break the door down, and they got him to the hospital. He would have died, right? And
yeah,
unfortunately, they found like feces in the room and stuff like that. So this guy he should not have been in a co-living situation. He should be in a senior
and
home.
some
Yeah.
kind of care. Yeah.
Yeah, should have been in some kind of care facility, but this is the problem. Like you're not always going to be able to vet away folks like that in every situation. It's just the stuff is going to come up. So the mental health side is another portion of co-living that doesn't get talked about enough, in my opinion. And so I would love to have that conversation with our guests too. But it all depends on how you're doing it, how you're going about it. And with our guest, he focuses on young professionals, right? Single moms. This is what we're going to be talking about. So there probably isn't as much that kind of situation is probably not as prevalent in that type of business model with co-living, but I'm we're gonna get into this, so I'm excited to bring him up. But yeah, Pansy's not gonna be here the whole time tonight because she does have to go in and get after it and network and go enjoy herself at the meetup. So it'll be me and John tonight hosting the show. So, but I appreciate you hanging out with us, Pansy, for as long as you can. And without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring up our guest, John Riorden. John, what's up, buddy?
Hey,
Hey, can you
John.
guys hear me already?
We can.
Yes. One of
All
my
right,
best
perfect.
buds that I did meet by going in person to an event. So just to let you guys know, welcome, John. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. And Pansy, when did we meet? It was Squad Up Summit 24, right? In Orlando?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Was it
yeah.
20? Yeah. Oh, I don't know. The time flies, man. The time flies.
Uh-huh. Are
It
you
does
guys
fly.
going to Denver this year?
I want to. I want to. We'll
Yeah.
see. So taking donations.
Yeah.
There you go.
Taking donations. Yeah, we'll put out the donation cup
There you go.
starting today. Hey, well, listen, John, I really appreciate you being here, and I am excited to kind of get into this with you because we do. Pansy and I are both have a lot of questions. We're still just kind of getting started learning about some of these pieces of co-living that just don't normally get talked about a lot because it's not maybe not sexy. It doesn't sell courses, that kind of stuff, right? But I'm excited to talk to you about it. So for folks who don't know you, I always start with this, but go ahead and introduce her. Give us a minute or two on how you got started, where you hail from, give us a little bit.
Before that, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Oh, go for it.
I'm gonna run in, guys. But I wanted to make sure I came on here and got you guys on and whatever. But
Sure.
I'll talk to you
yeah.
later. I'll let you know. And John, I'll definitely watch this episode later. So
Perfect.
You
Hey,
better watch
Pansy,
this episode, dude, if you're not going to be in it.
yeah, all right. All right. Love you guys. Have a good
Pansy,
night.
and you're in Schaumburg, so have fun at medieval times or wherever you're going.
Oh, it's Moretti's.
Oh, okay.
Moretti's, yeah. Medieval times.
Medieval time would be cool. But yeah.
Yeah.
So all right, guys. Later.
See you,
Bye.
Pansy. Thanks for being there.
Thanks.
Yeah, so yeah, I come from south of Chicago, right off of I-80, Tinley Park,
Nice.
Orland Park area. That's why I know Chicago area so much.
Mhm.
Grew up there. Thought I was going to be a mechanical engineer, like both of my grandfathers.
Mhm.
Started to go down that path, and then
Mhm.
I got into architectural drafting, and I liked that a little bit more. Thought I was going to be an architect for about $120,000, and then it wasn't in the cards for me. Got out
Yeah.
of sophomore year with tons of money, and I joined the military because I'm like, hey, who's going to pay for my college
You
now?
sound exactly like my brother. That's like literally now, minus the architect side of it, but you sound exactly what happened to my brother.
Yeah, and went through infantry training, went
Mm,
through airborne training, and then I went
nice.
through a special forces selection. Got selected, moved down to North Carolina, lived there for a while, and then yeah, made my way over to Colorado, and we've been blessed. We've been here ever since.
Nice.
Been here since 2008, and I'm looking at another 2 years until retirement. So,
Good for you.
about yeah, it's been a super long road. I've been to
Yeah.
almost 40 countries, speak a couple of languages. I'm an operations officer for the past 11 years.
Okay.
So right now I have 7 teams underneath me, about 80 folks. Largest organization I did operations for was about 800.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and
That's
that was
amazing, man.
over across that was in Afghanistan.
Okay.
But then I've also ran 15 teams across 7 countries in Europe and
Wow.
54 teams in Africa.
So no stranger to leading people and training people.
I learn every day something new
Yeah.
about what what it takes to lead people. But yeah,
Yeah, I'll bet.
trying to be, I've always said, been told that I say things a little too humbly, but no, it's
Mm,
definitely true that you are moved into position where you need to be.
hmm.
I've hit my stride. The problem is they want to move me again, and I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, my family doesn't want that. So,
Done. Done. Yeah.
and
And
it's not if, it's when.
yeah, that's challenging. In a lot of cases, it's hard to kind of leave that world, right? Because
Yeah.
I know a lot of service members struggle with that a lot, right? It's just all of a sudden it's just kind of over, right?
Yes. And that's
So
we're going to get into that after I kind of solidify operations and systems with single
okay.
mothers and young professionals is we're going to move into disabled veteran housing.
Oh, I love that idea. That's so needed. So needed. And like well, one of my close friends, um, he unfortunately passed away way too young. He was a veteran of Afghanistan and came back, and he was dealing with, he had struggled with drugs and everything, went into the military, and it's you the military changes you, but what you bring in with you, it doesn't just disappear, right? It stays with you, and if in a lot of cases gets amplified depending on what's going on. And so he got out with, still with those problems. They were undealt with, right? A lot of those problems did not get
Yeah.
dealt with. And, but he could have used, housing, right? Could have used a lot of things, but one of those things was housing because, in part of the time he had to move back with family. And that's a big ego blow as well, right? And especially when you've been independent for a long time. Like he was in the military for, I think he was in there for about 4 or 5 years, right? On his own doing his thing. And he gets out and then, has to move back with mom and dad. It's like, ugh, you know. So yeah, definitely needed. And well, if you don't mind me asking, what branch were you in?
Army.
Army, sweet. Well, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you for your service. That's also Army Rangers, I'm assuming, Special
No,
Forces.
Green Berets.
Green Berets. Okay. The
Yeah.
yeah, the big dog, the big dogs. All right. All right. Yeah.
Sure, sure.
You're like, yeah,
And
sure, sure.
Whenever people thank me for my service, I just got to thank everybody for paying their taxes because I get to
Yeah.
go to places like the
Yeah.
desert and the jungle and,
Yeah.
just have great infections rubbing up against plants in the middle of Africa and, dealing with mosquitoes in the middle of the
Uh,
desert where you have to wear a sleeping bag and just sweat in there.
I've heard the
Just
flies are worse in the desert than anything else.
they're huge.
Yeah, I've
and
heard the flies are bananas in the desert. Well, listen, I do appreciate that, but let's talk about what got
perfect.
you into you get so you've been doing your military thing. What did that look like for you to get into real estate? Was that kind of organic? Did you just kind of find your way into it? What happened there?
So it was probably, yeah, it was 2019
Mm,
that I started to like look towards the future and like, okay, what am I going to do when I grow up? I'm like, okay, at that time I had a second house.
mm,
Um, I had a wife of 4 years,
mm.
and it was like, oh, I hear that this is a great way to go forward. Let's look into it. Got into bigger pockets and all that.
Nice.
Um, and I tell people 2019 is when I started to get serious about educating myself. I joined like the bigger pockets community. I
Mm,
just gorged myself on everything, and then I started to like hit the limit of what I
yeah.
could get, because it's almost wash, rinse, repeat until I forget which episode of the Bigger Pockets podcast Pace Morby was on,
Oh
and
yeah. Yeah,
it
yeah.
was spring of 2022. I saw that
Hmm.
episode or listened to the episode while I
Hmm.
drove into work or was running because I'm a weirdo and I listen to podcasts while running. Um,
Yeah.
and then within 6 months, November of 22 is when I joined the SubTo community.
That's
Um,
literally carbon copy what happened with me. I think I had seen Pace for well, almost carbon copy. I'd seen Pace at least once on YouTube, but when I saw him on the Bigger Pockets and listened to that episode, that's when I really started digging in and was trying to figure out who he was and what it was all about, right? Yeah, that's pretty cool
oh
though.
yeah.
And so you
Yeah, and
joined roughly like 2022 then.
yep, almost 23. And the real reason, I dropped the hammer
Mm,
is the education piece. I wasn't getting it anywhere else. I had four mortgages on me,
yep.
and I was unbankable. And so I was like, well, this is it. I'm just
Yeah.
going to, turn into a fix and flipper burr guy or, what else. And then saw that, joined, and within the first month, I'm like tying my boots on a Monday morning. And if you've ever been in the military, we have formation, and
Mhm.
I'm on a Zoom with Pace, and he asks a question. I forget what the question was. And he's
Yeah.
like, hit me up if you don't understand this concept. And I just typed no real quick, tying my boot. And he's
Mhm.
like, John, he called me Riorden, and I'm like, "Ah, it's John Reard. John
Yeah.
Reardon, common spelling,
Yeah.
Gaelic. They made it up while they were drunk or something. Um, and I'm like, I just freeze because I was used
You're
to
like,
months and months and months of just absorbing,
yeah.
not really interfacing. And now there's this dude who has like hundreds of millions of dollars worth of real estate telling me to like talk to him directly. And I'm like fumbling and I drop my phone. And what was the joke he made? He's like, this guy's so no, he doesn't even know how to unmute himself. And I'm like, ah, fuck, fuck, fuck. Meanwhile, I have to run out the door, but
Yeah.
it didn't matter. Once he called me up, I was like, this is real.
Yeah.
This is absolutely real. So, just shout out to that, making it real. And then since then, I tried wholesaling. So after November, I deployed in January.
Mhm.
It doesn't work very well for at least me, working 12-ish hours a day as an
Yeah,
operations
that's
officer,
tough. That's
and then
tough.
getting yelled at by sellers. Yeah,
Yeah,
until I
that's really
decided to
tough.
fall asleep. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, no, I'm 9 hours
Yeah.
ahead of these people. Like it's their lunch hour. They don't want this.
Yeah.
Um, and then I started to connect because I looked at my Trello board. That was one thing, trying to organize my thoughts and
Mhm.
everything. And I saw I had hundreds and hundreds of contacts, and I just started connecting people. I made some money, bringing money to people, staying in the deals as kind of a project manager because I'm a certified project director.
Mhm.
So I was like, hey, I can run these deals. I bring in the TCs, I bring in the lenders.
Mhm.
I eventually started to form LLCs so that these fix and flippers weren't screwing over my PMLs, and I would actually take the money
Yeah.
and bring the properties into these LLCs.
Nice.
But
Smart.
it was slow. It took
Yeah.
forever, and then I went to Squat Up, and I spoke with Michelle Bisson, Rex Shippey, um, Rhea Campbell, Barb Dunn. I can just go
Yeah, I
on and
know
on.
Ria.
Like I after every picture I took with people, I had to like write their name underneath there and all
Mhm.
that and get everybody's blink card and everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to have to start charging people to like help them comp their properties, because people would bring me, it's like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, and we're jumping on hour, 2 hour long Zooms, and I'm
Yeah.
helping them understand how to comp with the hopes that we would sign a JV agreement.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
after a month of nothing, I'm like,
Yeah.
I just spent like 40 hours with nothing to show for it.
That,
And I
it's
was like,
funny that you
go
mentioned
ahead.
that. It's funny that you mentioned that because yeah, if you're not careful, people will and I don't want to say waste your time, but that's essentially what it is, right? Like if we want to get
Yeah.
down to it, they're going to waste your time, right? So how do you combat that? So you create an LLC and now you're, if somebody like let's say somebody wants to bring you an underwriting, do you even do that anymore for folks, or does it have to be like a very
No,
specific? Yeah, I didn't think so, right?
no,
You kind of
because
have to stop,
yeah,
right?
yes.
Because
And I went to Squad Up frustrated, and
yeah.
I'm networking, and
Yeah.
it was Michelle Bisson, who's actually in Colorado Springs, just out east, and I didn't know that until I actually met her at Squad Up. I'm like,
Hmm.
what? But she travels all over, and she does her RV park thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm so frustrated. I'm spinning my wheels. I'm getting no traction. I'm helping lots of people, don't get me wrong, which is
Yeah.
great, but
Mhm.
that's not necessarily why
It's
I'm
not bringing
up
in the
until
money.
midnight. Yeah. I need something to show my family why I'm not, I'm getting 5 hours of sleep a night.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm gonna have to start charging people one, two, $300 to like do this.
Yeah.
And she asked me why I was doing that. And I said, well, this is what I want to do. I want to have generational wealth. I want to hand it over. I want to help people
Yeah.
afford these properties with affordable living. And she's like, then why don't you do that? And that was it. That
Seems
was
so
it.
simple, doesn't it? Seems so
And
simple.
as soon as because Squad Up Summit, you stop networking with people whenever you get so tired you're passing out talking to them.
Yeah.
And I woke up the next morning, and before I went downstairs, because I stayed at the hotel, I
Yeah.
thought through it, and I'm like, okay, I'm still a connector, I'm still a capital raiser, I'm still like all of those things, but now I'm a buyer, and this is my story, because it took that long, and this was what, 2024, I said, yeah. So it took a year and a half to
Yeah.
get clarity. I was floating. I had shiny object syndrome. I mean, I made money. I paid for the mentorship
Yeah.
through all the lessons that I learned, but I wasn't making good money.
Yeah.
And when I said that I wanted to help people get affordable housing, and she just asked me that frankly low level dumb question,
Yeah.
that it finally just clicked, and it was like, okay, I'm going to have to start networking with purpose for that regard. And I knew the answer back in 2010 when I'm going to Iraq for 8 months at a time, and I invite my sister. My mom was already living with me in my apartment because my parents got divorced. So we're
Right.
already co-living.
Yeah.
And then my sister, she had a deadbeat boyfriend, and I can go, hours long with that, but she had two babies from him,
Yeah.
and she was struggling. So I
Yeah.
said, hey, I'm about to leave for 8 months. Come live in my apartment while I'm deployed, and you pay the bills, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so she did. And then when I got back, I bought a 6 bed, 2 bath
Nice.
in 2009. So, I paid 200,000 for it. So when
Yeah.
I say 2019, I've been in real estate since 2009, because that thing is cash flowing almost $2,000 a month, single family long-term rental.
Wow,
So
really?
yeah,
No
it's a
kidding.
great rate. It's
Yeah,
like a
what
3% rate, and it's $200,000. It's worth almost 500,000 now.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
amazing. So and you got into that what you said 2008, 2009?
2009.
2009. Okay. Okay.
And
Man, and where is it located?
Colorado Springs.
Colorado. Oh man, yeah.
hmm
Amazing, man. Amazing.
And,
So
and
right
so
near, were you
yeah,
deployed at Colorado Springs? Were you there, stationed there? Yeah.
out of there. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
And
Nice.
and
That's
so
amazing.
that's all she needed was 2 bed, 1 bath in my basement, for almost 3 years. She had some, crap jobs. She was still paying, rent, a couple
Yeah.
$100. It was nothing crazy, but I never used the basement, so it was all profit for me. She helped with utilities, all of that, and now she has a couple of her own houses.
Hmm.
couple of her own cars, still a single mom. Her teenagers now, I mean, they were babies. They
Wow.
were
Time
1 and
flies, huh?
2 years old. Yeah. Like they're about to graduate from high school, successful, and that's all she needed, safe, stable housing.
It's what a
And
lot of
so,
people need. It's what a lot of people
yeah,
need. That's why it's such a an interesting and not just interesting, but really viable business model. And I would say more municipalities are warming up to it because they also realize that, hey, this this is a another cog in the wheel of helping with the affordability crisis that we're dealing with, and not just affordability, but housing availability crisis as well. So that's amazing, man. So you get in 2009. Now, was that just a VA loan? Did you grab a VA loan and get into that, or what? How did you go about that?
VA loan, and then I need to pull some money out in 2016.
Yeah,
But I bought that down for 7 years at that point, and
yeah,
then 2019 I had to refinance that into conventional to reinstate
right.
because my wife wanted to move. I did too. I wanted
Yeah.
to start collecting houses in 2019. So
Mhm.
we moved. I put a HELOC on that baby beforehand, and we thought we were going to move to Germany. So I bought my mom a house near my sister, just so they weren't living together. And so when we didn't move to Germany, we still wanted to move somewhere else. So I bought a third house on a VA loan. And
Nice.
within 6 months, I went from one house to three houses. And I thought I was going to get into the short term rental game,
Yeah.
which didn't pan out,
Yeah. Well,
you know?
again, it's you kind of have to lean in with what you're already kind of good at, right? Or what the skills you've kind of already got and lean into that and be successful at that. And then but plus Airbnb, I've heard so many different things about Airbnb. Like it's it seems like it's just getting more and more challenging to run a short-term rental operation. Um, it's just one of those things you gotta, like anything else, obviously you got to be careful about where you're doing it. I have a friend out here in Anaheim. She owned a Airbnb right near Disneyland, and I mean, she was doing, no joke. She showed me one of her stubs or one of her bank statements. She was doing about 20,000 a month, and this is after expensive because she was literally within like 3 miles of Disneyland, and she was renting it. Hold on one second. I've got someone on my door. Let me get rid of them just for a second. Hold.
Yeah.
All right, sorry about that. We'll edit it in post, everybody. Now, so that's really interesting. So she was making about 20,000 a month, and then because she was so close to Disneyland, and then what happened was what always happens, the hotel union, the Disneyland themselves, they started lobbying the legislators, and there is an ordinance where, at least from my understanding of this, there's an ordinance now you can't have an Airbnb within a certain radius of Disneyland. So she went from making, 20,000 a month down to, she's just getting long-term rental rates, and she basically ended up having to sell the place. So it's just stuff like that. The rug can get pulled out from under you if you're not paying attention to stuff like that, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. And so what did that look like for you? Did you actually dip your toe into the short-term rental world for a little bit, or was it just kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah, so what did that look like for you?
Yeah. So I spent like $24,000 fixing up and outfitting our ranch with a full basement house. I mean,
Yeah.
it could hold 16 people. So that's what we were getting in the
Mhm.
holiday seasons, the summer season.
Yeah.
And it was like May, because Colorado Springs, the short-term rental time frame is like late April, really early May until
Yeah.
1 September. And so we earned probably 25,000 in 5, 6 weeks. And I was
Wow.
like,
Okay.
"Ooh, okay, I
Yeah.
just paid that off." And
Yeah.
then 1 September hit, and we maybe got the weekends. And I did the math with a great rate with what we had. It was like 1,500 bucks PITI. But
Hmm.
then all of the utilities, all of the Netflix
Yeah.
accounts, all the,
Yep.
and then paying the property manager like 18%.
Yeah.
I had to make $3,600 to break even every month. And I was like,
Yeah, that's rough.
and
That's
so
rough.
I just watched 3,600 go out every single month, and that 24,000 decrease. And,
Yep.
I gave it a year. Um, and then I'm dealing with Airbnb, and I'm like, hey, we're shutting down the house, X, Y, and Z. We're done here after this date. And then one
Yeah.
of the guests, it was like right around Christmas last month, and it was the final straw. They had to like not be a guest. And so I had to call up Airbnb and try and remove them because Airbnb, they just changed their rules, and they were going to charge me to cancel this guest. So I call them up and I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, listen, freaking, I'm not going to pay you to cancel a guest, and they're like,
Yeah.
well, you know, too bad, too sad, or you can get the guest to do it. And the guest didn't want to because then they would have to pay.
Yeah.
And allegedly, buyers are liars, sellers are worse, that whole thing. Guests are probably, terrible
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
a fact.
But they're
That's a
like, yeah,
fact.
like seriously, this was like a party for like my mother who has cancer and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, I don't have $700 to cancel your week-long thing, and
Yeah.
I get it. And then I'm calling up and I'm texting Airbnb, and they're just like, them's the
Sorry.
breaks. And I'm like,
Yeah.
are you serious right now? And
Yeah.
so I swore that off. I didn't have a good time as it was.
Yeah.
And that's when I just threw the renter who's been there ever since, 3 years going on, um, just just cash flowing that thing for me. And actually, this summer, they decided to start growing pot in my detached garage
Uh-huh.
because you can do that now, and all the neighbors are
Yeah.
getting pissed off. And I'm like, hey, I got a mountain property that my mother never moved into. I'm
Hmm.
tired of people having to find people because here's the other thing: location, location, location. Right?
Yeah.
Like the number of people moving into the mountains in that area, few and far between. And
Yeah.
this place, it's on 10 acres. It's not spectacular. So there's other places that are better on smaller acreage, and people are taking those. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna get pot guy to
To
buy
go
that on a
there.
wrap. Yeah, yeah,
Well, and then why not? It's private, right? You got a whole 10 acres. You got, it's secluded, you can do what you want.
yep,
Yeah, I like that's good. I think that's a good move. So so the Airbnb one, you basically just turned it into a long-term rental essentially, or did you sell it?
yeah. To
You
stop the
just
bleeding,
just to
stop
stop
the
the bleeding.
bleeding.
Sure, sure.
Which
Yeah.
even stopping the bleeding, that thing's earning me about $2,000 a month.
Nice.
And it's
Nice.
just like, why would I do anything else right now? But
Yeah.
now that I've gotten into co-living and I understand the markets better, I've
Mhm.
educated myself, I'm speaking with people in the space.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I can charge below apartment rents. Like, I'm talking 40 to 50% of average medium income. Like, I just go on HUD, I look at Section 8 and I go to the 40 percentile of average medium income for whatever zip code.
Hmm.
That's what I charge for a studio, for a shared bathroom
Hmm.
room, one bed, one bath for a master suite.
Oh, so you look at the median. Okay, so yeah, so one of the metrics that we talk about when we're looking at a co-living market is that the median household income needs to be, or I'm sorry, the rent rate needs to be at least 30% or more uh, than the median household income to represent a rental problem, right? Where you can now see there's going to be demand for something like co-living because the average rent in the area is easily 30% or more than the median household income. So you're saying you look at median household income and you go 40% of that for your rates?
Yeah,
Okay.
for example, in Colorado Springs, El Paso County, Colorado,
Yeah.
a studio is going for about 730,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
charge 700. So
Okay.
if they went to go and get Section 8, I'm
Yeah.
slightly cheaper than that.
Okay, that's smart, man. That's really smart. And then
Mhm.
obviously they get access to the whole house. They get all the shared spaces, access to that, laundry and all
Right,
that, right? So no,
right.
that's a I mean, especially in Colorado, Colorado's getting more and more expensive as we speak. So That's really smart. So when you're looking at a market, this is one of the things I wanted to bring up. This is some of the stuff that we're learning about is the market analysis that you do is probably one of the most important things you can do before you ever buy a co-living property in an area. And like I said, one of those metrics is looking at median household income, which there's tons of resources for that. You can go look up median household income simply by Googling it in most cases for a certain area. And then go look at what the rent rates are, the average rent rate in the area. If it's 30% higher than what the median household income is uh, for the year, then that or not 30% higher, but if it's 30% of the median household income for the year, that indicates a need for cheaper cost housing, cheaper cost rents, right? So what does that look like for you? Maybe we could go through some of the metrics that you really look at in a market to tell you, hey, you know what, I'm going to pull the trigger here. Now obviously you know your market, but if you wanted, are you expanding out of Colorado or are you gonna be doing that or are you gonna stay there?
Once my systems and processes are good here locally, that's what I learned from Rex Shippey because
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, Rex, friggin', I've been paying attention to you on social media and then I
Mhm.
saw you blow up. What's going on, man? And he's like, actually, I started to stop all that, stop
Yeah,
going quote nationwide and just focus locally. And because he was doing his KPIs,
yeah,
and I don't want to speak for him.
yeah.
He'll probably yell at me if I say anything bad. But he's like, I was losing more money by paying attention to my KPIs, and I went nationwide than if I just kept
Stayed
local. And
local. Stayed
yeah.
local. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's smart. That's super smart. Yeah, so we were looking at so even in your own market, let's talk a little bit about what makes it such a good and in the areas that you have co-living, what makes it such a good market for you to stay in? Because I mean, when the average person looks at Colorado, especially Colorado Springs and some of these areas, I mean, they're expensive, man, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you're looking at your local area, what obviously you're there local, so that's one major factor is you can go to these properties if you have to, right? You're sort of boots on the ground, but what are some of the other factors for you that make it a good market for co-living?
Yeah, just in general. So you're looking at again where rent rates are. If you're in SubTo,
Hmm.
go to the Facebook page. It was last year or the year prior. The last time that one of those censuses were done, I pulled a whole bunch of data, put it into an Excel spreadsheet, and it showed you the upwards or downwards trends of population growth.
Okay.
So you also like, hey, we're not political or X, Y, and Z because we're investors, blah, 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 blah. You have to pay attention to politics. So
Yeah.
when Colorado was one of the first ones to legalize pot, everybody wanted to come here to freaking get that stuff. Denver was exploding and it was super expensive.
Yeah.
So the people who couldn't afford Denver moved down to Colorado Springs. The people who couldn't move to Colorado Springs moved to Pueblo or Grand Junction out west. So that
Okay.
was kind of the flow of people based on their affordability.
Yeah,
And
based on their
so
room, sure.
because we're in that like middle market, we have 5 military bases around here. We're also a very stable market.
Yeah.
And then you have to just read up on the market. Wherever you're going to go, AI now can do a lot of this stuff for you. Like, hey, give me the projections over,
Yeah.
yada, yada. Like by 2050, Colorado Springs is supposedly going to be the largest metropolitan area in Colorado.
Yeah, I'll tell
Um,
you what, I have a chat GPT prompt, and for everybody who's on here tonight, I'll give you guys a link to it. I'll create a file for you guys and give it to you guys that I created specifically to do market research for me for co-living. And now it does a pretty good job. You still you can't just fully depend on ChatGPT to provide you all of the data points. You still need to kind of check things out and vet it. But there are a number of good sites that I include that I tell ChatGPT, hey, use these sites, use the data points from these sites. But so if I'm looking at a market, and you can tell me what you think about this, but some of the stuff that we look at, obviously median home price, right? Or some of these market um identifiers, right? Average price per square foot, average price for a 3 to 5 bedroom home, because that's going to be typically where you're going to want to buy at, right? You want to try and get a house probably with 3 bedrooms or more already if you can, right? and look at home price appreciation. Like where's the trend going, right? Are prices appreciating, or have they completely softened in the area, right? It's just one of those metrics. This obviously I would say is probably not a deal breaker, but these are just some of the metrics. And then for co-living specifically, like we've been looking for, close to universities, colleges, healthcare workers, international students, just working professionals like you're doing, right? Tech workers, like what's the situation look like, or the demographics look like for tech workers in the area, graduate students and young professionals, right? So we look at those numbers, and there's a lot of different sources for that. Some of the sources like U.S. Census Bureau, Bureau of Labor Statistics is another one. Apartments.com, rent.com. I mean, you can even PadSplit, if you go and sign up for a PadSplit host account, uh, they have their data in PadSplit is really, really good. At least from what I've seen. So like what was it about, specifically young moms and young professionals that did that just kind of happen for you just normally, just in the course of operation, or how did that work out? That's
Yeah.
kind of what you focused on.
So after Squad Up Summit, I came back, reviewed all my notes,
Mhm.
just taking tons of notes from all the things, all the people that I've spoken with. And, I sat down, blank sheet of paper, and I started to draft out my thoughts and processes.
Yeah.
And, I lose half of the people when I tell them this, but this is my why.
Mhm.
I want to make abortion unconscionable in the United States, if not
Okay.
worldwide.
Okay.
Why? And it's not illegal. Let me clarify this. I want to make it not a reason anymore. And so my degree's in social psychology. I have a bachelor of science in social psychology. So I look at trends and why people are based on the environments that they live in. And
Yeah.
so I looked at my sister and I spoke with her. How many single moms, have I spoken with, and the strength and the dignity that they carry with them, even in their darkest times. And
Mhm.
then I read why people decide to go through abortion, and I'm not ready. I'm not financially ready. I want to finish school. I want to have a good career,
Yeah.
and I can't affect most of those things, which it's not just affordable living. My end goal is affordable, excuse me, it's not affordable housing. My end goal is affordable living.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah.
All of it, everything is getting more expensive. Food, communications, vehicles, all of it. Like
Yeah.
eventually, once my foundation is solid, I'm going to start branching out. But and then the fourth main reason, and this is a Pew Research, you can look it up, from 2016, several year
Mhm.
type of poll that they had, or a research poll.
Mhm.
The fourth reason is my partner coerced me to get an abortion. So now I
Ah.
have to work on the guys. Now the
Yeah.
deadbeat dads, they're like, oh, I don't want to do this, for a myriad of reasons.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's where like the young professionals come in.
Okay.
Case in point, one guy, he missed a couple of weeks of rent because we went from monthly to weekly rent, and
Yeah.
he still missed one. And I'm like, what's going on, man?
Yeah.
And it was 10:30 at night. We had a long phone conversation, and this guy, he was in the Marines for 4 years, got out, and he was 22. He had no idea what to do. This guy had a bad home life, single mom, so he and believe what you will, but I strongly believe that fathers in the household bring a challenge to
Mhm.
children.
Mhm.
That's what I do with my boys. Is
Mhm.
like, mom's there, she's security, she is safe, she is home. I am
Mhm.
here to challenge you. I'm here to push you. Mom says that you are good enough. I say that you are not good enough yet. You know,
Yeah.
and I do it with love, and I do it with care, and I do it,
Yeah, to push you. You
systematically.
want to push them.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this guy, I mean,
He didn't have that.
I asked him exactly what Michelle Bisson asked me, because he was missing payments because he was doing blow up party slide bounce house things. and it's
Mm.
fall.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody in this economy that is, you know, ordering bounce houses from a professional entertainment company, let alone, enough to pay you tens of thousands of dollars, at
Yeah.
least minimum wage for the year. And
Yep.
I just asked them, is that what you want to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, the answer is no.
No. Yeah.
No. And I'm like, here, you don't have to answer me now. Think it over. But if you need help, let me know. And the next day, it was 10 o'clock at night again. I guess that's when he does his thinking. He texts me and he's like, yeah, I need some help.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
I hooked him up with a bunch of contractors, construction guys that I have networked with.
Yeah.
And I said, call these 10 people. And by the end of the week, he had a job. And that's all he
Nice.
needed. And
Nice.
that's all he needed was somebody to listen and to care for him. And
Yeah.
so and he has a little girl, and his girlfriend moved in with him now, and all that. So like I can see it actually happening. And our most recent house, single mom, she was living in her car in a Motel 6 parking lot with her toddler, her 8-year-old, and her 3-year-old.
Yeah. That's
And now
amazing,
she
man.
And I mean, she nannies, she does all that. She hasn't missed a payment.
Yeah.
And all she needed was she just moved into the basement. She
Yeah.
has a room and she is paying a little bit more for the little living room that's down there.
Yeah.
And there's a single mom upstairs, another single mom moving in within the next week. And then by Thanksgiving, it would take less than 30 days since.
Oh, that's so good. You know
Yeah,
what? This is so first of all, your head's in the right place for this. And I think this is something that I'm starting to understand more as we get into this, as we start learning this business model and we start learning about how to break into it, right? Is that the successful operators, the ones that I've seen, the ones I've talked to, have a heart for helping people. That's literally what I've seen now. Is that true for everyone running co-living? No, but I'm saying the successful ones, the ones that have longevity, have a heart for helping people. They just did a on the news, they just did I think it was like I want to say last week, but they did a story on the news about co-living properties. I think it was in Florida, and they were interviewing these people that had been homeless and now they've got a roof over their head and a job because they had access to have a roof over their head because now they can afford it, right? And the woman who was operating these properties, she owned multiple co-living properties like this, but you could tell that she really cared about these people, right? And she was there, now she wasn't in the day-to-day management of all of it, but just like you, if someone at one of her properties is struggling, she helps them out, right? She gives them an ear and she listens to them and she tries to help them out any way she can. Now, obviously, there's some folks, like we were talking earlier about the mental health thing, like there's some situations that you or may not be equipped to handle, and you're going to run into that sooner or later when you're operating co-living. And but Pad Split gives solutions or has solutions for that, but ultimately to in my opinion, you I don't know if you agree with me or not, but you really do kind of have to have a heart for helping people in order to operate this business model successfully. Because the ones that don't, I mean, that's the ones that are just doing it purely for the money and don't really care and are running these sort of like slumlord operations. That's how you end up in the news. You know what I'm saying?
right,
That's how you
right.
end
And
up in the
that's
news.
when people start talking pad split, or excuse me, when people start talking co-living,
Mhm.
I ask them why,
Yeah.
and if they start talking about money, cool, man. Anyways, I'm gonna go talk to somebody that,
You're like,
has
all
a
right.
better why.
Yes,
It's going
yes.
to come. It's
Yeah, yeah.
going to come. This
Yeah.
house, I bought this thing. It's not even, I didn't even design it for co-living, this one. I mean, I'm charging these ladies $700 and $800.
Yeah.
I talked to one lady, single mom. I was actually at US Bank dealing with card issues, and I'm like, hey, if you know any single moms, let me know. I have availability. And she's like, I'm a single mom. How much you charging? And I'm like, 800
Nice.
bucks for the master. And she's like, oh, I'm paying
She's
$1,300
like
for a
sold.
one bed. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
and
great.
so the money will come, and I'm
Yeah.
not charging that much, and I'm still
Yeah.
going to net over $1,000 a month. And this
That's
thing,
amazing.
I didn't add any rooms. I didn't take away any living rooms. I can. There's 3 living rooms in the damn place,
Yeah.
but like I'm not there to stack them like sardines. There's already 4 kids going to be running
Yeah.
around. So it's
Yeah.
like all the little things. I
Yeah.
buy them toilet paper. I buy them paper towels because that's how I run my houses. I don't want them to fight over whose turn it is to pick up stupid toilet paper. Like
Right.
if that's what you guys need me to kick in $20 to reduce conflict, to reduce that off of your shoulders, because like the mental health thing, um, I want to get there. The telehealth thing is awesome, like good
Yeah.
on pad split.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to do is take the pressure off of people's shoulders, and you know typically that is going to do enough for I don't want to say mental health issues, but like
No, it
if
goes
you're
a long
drowning,
way. It
yeah,
goes a long way. Yeah,
they can
without a
finally
doubt.
breathe. She was
Yeah.
paying before she moved into her car. This one mom, she was paying $2,700 a month, and now she's paying less than 1,000.
And think about what that means for her now too, right? Think about what that means for from a financial standpoint. She could probably now go out with her kids more, or go out to dinner maybe once or twice a week, or once a month maybe, whatever it is, but spend more time with her kids, have more financial means for her kids, what have you. It goes a long way. And that's just yet another reason. Yeah, you've got to have a heart for this, right? For longevity purposes, for longevity's sake, and just for humanity's sake too, right? So yeah, no, that's not enough people are talking about that. Let's just put
You,
it that way.
and let's talk about the long game. I mean, we're
Yeah.
all going to be either dying or dead by the time this thing comes around. But there's a
Hmm.
projection by 2075, we're going to
Hmm.
hit a wall as a species.
Hmm.
Everybody but Africa are not having kids to replacement.
It's
They're having maybe one kid or none.
it's
I
a
mean, we're
100%, 100%. We're gonna drop off a cliff. It's already starting to happen. Why do you think the Democrats are importing votes? I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna get political.
but that's all part of it too. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, it is. It is.
look at how many houses are being built in
Yeah,
the next couple dozen years.
yeah.
These things are going to go for pennies of the dollar. You know, like
Yeah,
they're going to be empty.
and in all serious, it's all the way across the aisle. It's not just it's not one party or the other. In this country specifically, it's literally people are not having kids. Like, what's going on, right? And it's
Right.
because, well, there's a lot of things going on. One is hope for the future, financial. One, the big one is obviously economy and financial. People don't think they're, the dream of like owning a home, the American dream, that's been melting away, right, as time goes on. So that's a part of it as well. But yeah, I mean, it's really scary. And they were talking about this isn't like this. You remember years back, there was a lot of this talk about, we're going to get to like 10 billion people and all the resources are going to run out. That was all nonsense. And by the way, they knew that that wasn't going to happen when all that rhetoric was getting passed around back then too. But the problem is when you have a crisis like this, it's not just it's exponential. Do you know what I mean? So it's just like I said, it's just one of these days you just drop off a cliff,
Yeah.
and then everybody's gonna be like, what happened, right? Well, it's been happening for a while, but it's an exponential change that happens, and it takes a long time, if ever, to recover from that, right?
And unfortunately, like you're talking about societal collapse. You're not talking
Yeah,
about just like empty houses. You're talking like who's going to operate all the power plants?
yeah,
Who's going to maintain the roads? Who's going to do this? And to your point, it's about financial stability. It's about
yeah,
hope. It's
yeah,
about desire. I just saw a statistic. Who knows if it's real? But it's like 40% of women want to like move out of the United States. Like
yeah. It's
what? Why?
crazy. It's crazy. I know. It's absolutely crazy. Well, I blame a lot of it on social media. There's a lot of it is
Social
social
media.
media.
So that I
Um,
mean that's what I've studied. Is psychological,
yeah,
like operations. And
yeah.
frankly, everybody listening,
It's a
our
psyop,
adversaries want us to
100%, man.
lose.
Yeah,
Our
it's a
adversaries want us to lose,
yep.
but they're
It's
losing too at the same time.
it is true.
I forget who did it. I think it's some kind of energy watchdog or something, and they were calculating how much power usage China is actually using
Mhm.
compared to their claimed population, and they're like, China probably has less than a billion people, between
It's
500 and 900 million people. They don't have 1.5.
yeah.
I mean, it's like, holy crap, man.
And that's not like when you think about here, we just if you talk about China, what do we always hear? Like, oh, they have like 10 times as many people as us. They have 10 times as many people in the military and all this stuff. And it's like that. Now, as far as the military is concerned, that might be true. But as far as an overall population, yeah, I mean, that's crazy to hear, first of all. And I don't know where it goes, did like there's got to eventually be a turnaround, or what you're talking about, what we're talking about is societal, collapse essentially, right? So, but I think the good news is where we're at right now, doing what you're doing especially can breed that hope, right? And start bringing that back and giving people
That's the dream.
options. Yeah, yeah, giving people options, right? Letting people have those options like, "Oh my gosh, you know what? I can survive. I can have a roof over my head. I can provide for my family." It might not be the American dream as like maybe our parents and grandparents knew it, but we can bring it back slowly but surely, right? We can build this thing up. So I think that's the
And
right.
you bring up a really good point about our grandparents and our parents. And so I examined this. I was looking
Yeah.
through family pictures, and one picture was my dad
Mhm.
as a kid, as when I look at my baby pictures, like, holy crap, he was digging a trench out in front of grandpa's house
Mhm.
to connect the house to the sewer. My grandfather bought a Craftsman house after he got off a destroyer in the Pacific, moved grandma in there, and they had four boys. It was one bed, one bath, kitchen, and living room. And then they built, once they had kids, they built one more bedroom on there. I mean, this thing was like 900 square feet. So when people are like, oh, friggin', they didn't have to deal with X, Y, and Z. I can't find a house in this market that's less than 2,500 square feet. They're building 3,000, 3,500 square foot houses. And it's like, when I, because my ranch that's, doing very well,
Mhm.
the ranch house with full basement,
Mhm.
that thing's 3,000 square feet. I never went into the basement.
Yeah, it's a lot of square footage. You don't realize how big that is. That's a lot of square footage,
Yeah.
man.
And I had
Yeah.
three boys, and they're just, running around and all that, but we never went into the basement. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, well, that's part of the problem is nobody wants to build small houses. I'm not talking about tiny houses. I'm talking small houses with
Mhm.
purposeful expansion already built in. So that's going to be
Mm.
within the next 3 to 5 years. I already have an architect I'm talking with. I've got
Interesting.
acreage outside of the
Well,
springs that I'm going to test out so that to end it with, oh, hey, Pansy, she's back.
yeah, Pansy's
Um,
back.
but
Oh,
I
bring me
want to
back up.
build,
Oh, I didn't even know. Here we go. I'll make it. Yeah, I'll bring you back up, Pansy. Hold on. You got to turn your camera on if you want me to spotlight you, though.
you know,
Uh,
and fractional
there you
seems like a
are.
great way to do it. Regular capital raising, finding
Mhm.
people who want to build, not even spec homes. I already have people in my Rolodex that are looking for the exact size, the exact price range, less than a quarter million, where the average is 450,000 in the Springs.
Yeah. Well, now when you say purposeful expansion built in, or what
Yeah.
does that look like? What do you mean by that?
Hey, when you were a bachelor, how many bedrooms did you need?
Yeah, one.
One, maybe
Yeah,
two if you wanted like
maybe.
extra space or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, how about this? You buy a house, one bed, one bath, kitchen,
Hmm.
and living room,
Hmm.
and the blueprints already exist to add a room onto it.
Gotcha.
All you
Okay.
have to do is whenever you decide you can get another loan, and oh, by the way, the HOA is going to be owned by us, and we're going to wrap all of these homes so we can
Nice.
take risk because we are investors,
Yeah.
right? We can be a little bit more risky than banks.
Yeah.
And oh, we also know individuals who would love to have 8 to 12% return for you to build something onto your existing house that you're already building equity into. Why
Yeah,
not?
that's smart. That's smart.
And then
So the
you get
plans are
married, you
already
have
there, like
kids.
the
Yeah.
plan's already paid for in there and just ready to go. Okay.
And whenever
Interesting.
you're ready to expand your house, let's do
Do
this.
it.
It,
Okay.
you know, where do you want your house? Do you want to pop the top this year? Do you want to, add one on the back? You want a master suite? We got plans for it
Right.
already done.
Right.
And it's
That's
already
brilliant.
good to go for your plot. And all you have to do is just come, down to the office because HOAs, I hate them, but hey, man, they earn some money, and then you can control as well how the neighborhood shapes out.
I
You
just
write in.
don't like the
Go ahead.
overly restrictive HOAs. There's like, I understand HOAs and why they exist, and there are good things about them, but the ones that are just like overly restrictive, and well, we could talk about this for
Yeah,
the next hour and a
yeah,
half, but
yeah.
so that's really interesting. What does it look like for someone, let's say you build these, you get these properties built out. What's the square footage look like for one of these? Are you keeping it 1,000 or below? Is that what we're talking about? Or
Yeah, yeah. So talking with the architect, seeing what is possible, and the affordability,
yeah, yeah.
because it's going to come down to getting the construction loan. It's going
Yeah.
to come down to building these things and then putting long-term debt onto them and then
Okay.
wrapping them on the backside. So
Sure.
whatever, that shakes out to be, that
Sure.
we're going to have to reduce, and then of course all of the trim
Yeah.
levels and,
Well, I
and all
mean,
that
they're
other
supposed
stuff.
to be lowering interest rates again. But I don't even know, another two times. So you can get those levered with low interest rate debt. You got it. Now you can really wrap them. So
Yeah.
really quick, I'm going to stop. Pansy, obviously, if you have questions, please ask. But for folks that are in here with us, if you have questions, just raise your hand. If you don't know how to do that, just click on the React button on the bottom of your Zoom and raise your hand if you want to ask Sean a question. One more question for me. I know we're getting towards the end here. Actually, we are towards the end here, but I did have a question that I try and ask for everyone who's new, right? For people who are new that are trying to break into co-living, what would you say would be a good option for people who maybe don't have the money or maybe access to the funding that want to get into this? What's one way that new folks can get into this and get some experience?
Yeah. It's the trifecta: time, money, and experience.
Time, money, experience. Yeah.
If you don't have one, you're going to be spending the other.
Yeah.
The same thing with contractors. You can have it fast, you can have it good, or you can have it cheap.
Right. Right.
The same type of methodology. So whatever you can bring to the table, start talking with people. Talk to
Yeah.
more people and find out, if you're vibing with them.
Yeah.
And if you got the time, like that's where I'm at. I just wash, rinse, repeat all of my money back into my tiny portfolio,
Hmm.
because that's where I am right now. But I have
Yeah.
time.
That's great.
Once the kids go to bed, that's when I do my real estate. And,
Yeah.
I've been painting walls at 10 p.m. until midnight for, the past week, just so that these moms can get in there faster.
Yeah. That's great though.
Um,
Yeah.
and co-living, man, on the one hand, it takes exponentially more amount of time
Hmm.
based on how many bedrooms you have.
Hmm.
Again, like the most people I have right now is five in a house. Some
Okay.
of these houses have like 10, 12. I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah.
And I don't
They're
want to go
building jail
into
cells is what
underwriting.
they're doing.
Maybe. So tomorrow morning at 11, I have a
Yeah.
walkthrough of a 1 acre, like 3,400 square foot house with five bedrooms.
Hmm.
I mean, that I can put a parking lot. I can make an ADU out of the garage. It
Yeah.
has expandability. That being said, I can talk um, strategy forever.
Yeah.
But if you have time, get into a partnership.
Yeah.
And hey, I'm going to answer the phone calls.
Yeah.
I'm going to deal with this. I do a community board inside of um, my houses every month. I'm texting the group every quarter. I'm physically walking through every month. I have video going on.
Hmm.
The chore board, somebody has to switch it out. I'm going in there making sure that they're following the house rules.
Nice.
So like that's what you can do for the partnership. If you
Yeah.
have money and you just want to pay attention, make sure that you're an actual partner Why? So that you learn the systems and processes, learn all of the little nuances, like where do you find these people? I use Facebook marketplaces. That takes a lot of time too, folks. Like going
Yeah.
into the roommate Facebook groups, not just Facebook marketplace, and talking with people. I've had more people reach out to me off of comments, and I make a little Canva flyer
Mhm.
for my rooms, and
Mhm.
people are like, "Hey, I saw your comment over here. Tell me more about it." And then I just shoot them my Zillow link or whatever like that, and we get into conversation. So I filled
That's a good
houses that way.
idea. That's a really good idea,
But it
actually.
takes forever. I mean,
It does, yeah.
if I'm not physically doing financials or something in my business, unfortunately, I'm still in my business, not on my business.
Hmm.
I'm doom scrolling through these groups and just
Hey.
hitting people up, following up, because single moms, they probably have 1 to 2 jobs. They have at least one kid.
Hmm.
They are tired. They're not going to follow up with you. Like I just hit up and followed up with a lady who's probably going to rent out one of my rooms. I first texted her 3 weeks ago, and it's like me, her with a 4 word response, and
Hmm.
then me, let's set up a time. Okay, here's the time.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
just like they don't have time. They're
I get it.
stressed and all
Yeah.
that. So
I get
time,
it.
money, and experience.
I have the utmost respect and admiration for single moms. My mom is a single mom, so I know what it takes, or at least I've seen what it takes and the stress and struggle that single moms go through. And it's like, again, it takes a certain mentality, right?
It's not
To
easy. Been there.
it's not easy. I mean, single dads too, but either way, right? It takes a certain mentality to stick with it, and to, you do it for your kids, obviously, right? Your kids
Yeah.
and your love for your kids is what keeps you driving forward. But any little bit helps, right? Any little hand out and
Well,
help.
not hand out.
No, I mean,
Hand up.
hand to help pull you up, right?
Yep.
Helps, right? I'm not talking about handing people freebies. I'm talking about actually helping people, right?
Yeah, let's
Teach a
not go
person to
down that
fish.
road because we can definitely go down that road. And
No,
Yeah,
and that's the thing. People will take advantage of you.
yeah.
People
Hmm.
will take advantage of you. And all I have to do is remind these, especially the young professionals, I turn somebody away at least every other day
Yeah,
because they see my flyer. They're like, "Hey, do you have any rooms?" No. The answer is no.
yeah.
Hopefully by the end of the year I can have up to 10, but
Yeah, but you
no,
got to do
sorry.
what you got to do, right? You only have so much availability. Sure, you can't help everybody, right? But
And
yeah,
and they say, well, it's a business, and it's like, yeah, it is, but I'm not gouging on the
yeah,
one hand, but on the other, if you're costing me money, like I can't proliferate this. I can't
yeah.
help more people because you are taking
Yeah.
advantage.
No, and again, it's not about handing out freebies, right? It's about helping people. But
Hmm.
if people aren't taking responsibility, that's one of the areas you can get into some trouble with. Is just like, they still have to take responsibility for their lives, right?
Right.
Like
And
you're
holding
not their
people to it.
father, right? Yeah, and
Well,
hold them to it.
you have to act like it in some cases, and that's
In
having
some
that
cases,
conversation.
yes.
Like, okay, you write a little note, inside of your a CRM. I use Rent Ready, so I can, do all of that. But it's just like, okay, this guy had a rough upbringing. He probably doesn't know how to hold himself responsible.
Yeah,
So I'm going to have to remind him that he is an adult. Or,
yeah,
hey, if you as a single mom are burnt out, let's talk about how you can de-stress.
yeah,
Because my wife, I mean, I can show you the email. First thing we met online. I was like, hey, I'm looking for a strong, independent woman because I'm going to be gone half of every year, and I've been gone
yeah,
a half every year. And she
yeah,
has 3 boys, so
yeah.
she gets burnt out. Like sometimes I'll call her. This last time I was over in Europe, and just talking to her, I'm like, you're exhausted, aren't you?
Hmm.
Like,
Hey, you know what? But that upfront contract, right, in the very beginning, but you know what? That's a beautiful thing. My brother, not to get too much into it, but my brother had gone through a divorce, and he had finally met this girl, and it was after, kind of doing what you just like, look, this is my situation. He's still in the military, right? This is my situation. I've got two girls and we need, I can do this much and I need somebody who I'm not interested in the girls that want to take selfies all day long. I want someone who's, mature and, is willing to help with my kids just as much as I'd be willing to help with your kids, kind of a situation. And it's worked out, right? And it does, but it does. I mean, it takes two people, We talk about like as much as I respect and admire single moms, it shouldn't have to be that way. You know what I mean? There should be two people there helping raise that person. That because we're talking
Yeah.
about raising human beings, you know what I mean? It's not an easy situation. So,
Well, yeah, and I don't want to turn it into a political thing, but
no.
we've been around for tens of thousands of years,
Mhm.
and we settled on a partnership model for
Yeah,
financials, for homes, for everything.
yeah.
And like it's a little arrogant of people nowadays to say like, oh, I don't need any of these things that,
Hmm.
we're not any smarter than what we were 10,000 years ago. We just have more knowledge. And frankly, like how are you going to go fish? You can't go to Walmart to get your fishing pole. Go ahead and catch fish. Oh, I thought you were smarter than what we were. It's like, come on, guys. Friggin' take
Yes.
the lessons we have learned for so
Yeah,
long
yeah,
and just propagate,
yeah,
make things better.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. It's a mindset issue, and that's what I find with a lot of these people: despair, hopelessness,
yeah,
exhaustion. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
All of it,
and
all
the
the
economy
whole
doesn't help.
gambit. Yeah,
Oh,
the whole
and
gambit.
and so I want to go way back. Sorry, real quick.
Hmm.
Colorado's lost 2%. Like everybody was talking about it. It's booming. Like year on year, we've lost generally 2%, and it's the middle class that's moving out. So what we have is
Oh,
we have
interesting.
people who can afford the really nice places,
Hmm.
and then we have people that need to live by the airport.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
I want to give them non-airport houses.
yeah,
Like B neighborhood stuff, but it's like, hey, you can live in that apartment, go ahead. Or you can live in this house. You're gonna have to put up with some other people, follow some house rules, and now you have a fully fenced backyard. You can park your car safely, the whole gamut.
yeah. I
So
love that.
yeah,
I love that.
that's
And
another
that's
thing
that's
to
a
look
that's a
for.
big deal. It really is a big deal. And this is why, again, this is why this stuff has been on the news lately, talking about because it really gives people options that they wouldn't have otherwise had, right? So that's the big part of it. So, well, listen, I know we're running a little bit late on our show here, but I really appreciate you jumping on here. It was good to talk to you and good to
Uh,
learn about what you're
Justin,
doing.
it's my pleasure.
Oh
Yeah,
man, well, we need to have you back on. I need to pick your brain a little bit more as Pansy and I get further into this too. I'm gonna really need to pick your brain at some point, but
absolutely.
but it needs to be mutual. We need to benefit each other, right? So again, I'm not about wasting people's time, right? I want to bring some value to the conversation if we're gonna do that. But we need to have you back on as you start, especially when you start doing this development thing, right? I'd love to talk to you about that because that's I mean that's I've not heard of something like that yet, and it sounds really interesting. So I'd love to have you back on for that. And again, guys, if I'll ask you guys one more time, if anybody on the show has a question for John before we let him go, unless obviously you're welcome to hang out with us. Usually, what we do is we end the show and then we have a little bit of networking time. So it's up to you if you want to stick around, but. Yeah, if you guys want to ask a question for the show, now's your chance. Otherwise, forever hold your peace. So, but yeah, John, thank you again, man. And yeah, for those who are on here right now, like I said, I'm gonna put together that ChatGPT prompt and share that with you guys. And for folks who are watching this after the fact, um, I might put something up in the description too. I haven't decided yet, but we'll see. Anyway, I appreciate it, John. So we're gonna go ahead and end it. Pansy actually made it back for the end of the show, so Pansy's here for the end of the show. That's good.
Classic Pansy.
Classic Pansy showing up towards the end. I'm just kidding. But yeah, thank you guys all. I'm Justin. This is Pansy's Friends with Benefits podcast.